Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the Audi S5, which is the most powerful of the Audi brat pack, which comprises the Audi A5 and the A5 convertible. This car is packed with power and a lot of features, and if you want to know about the A5, which covers most of the features that this car has, the body is the same, the backseat space is the same, the boot space is the same, a lot of features inside the cabin are the same. So I would really recommend my comprehensive review of the Audi A5 in the link above. And in this specific review, I'm going to talk about the performance of this car and the changes that it gets over the Audi A5. So let's get started with the design. And here, as you can see, this single frame grille up front is done in black. This is an optional package. This doesn't come as standard. And there are quite a lot of things in this car which are optional and you'll have to pay extra for them. And I'll try to let you know all about them, because a lot of times what happens is media cars are equipped with a lot of things which are not standard. And a lot of journalists think that these are standard, and cars cannot really be evaluated based on what you have, for which you have to pay extra price for. So this black color that you see surrounding the single frame grille is an optional thing, and this essentially adds to the sporty character of the car, makes it look a little more dynamic. The bumper here is a little different from the Audi A5, and it also has these vents which help the car's aerodynamic ability as well as help increase the fuel efficiency to an extent. I also assume that this helps reduce the tire noise inside the cabin. The illumination here is all LED, and you get these black surrounds around the headlamps, and these are intelligent headlamps and they make sure that the oncoming traffic is not dazzled. Coming towards the side, a major differentiator are these beautiful looking 18-incher wheels. They're shot with 245 section rubber. Up front you have Pirellis, rear you have Bridgestones, and they're relatively low profile, although internationally you also have 19 inches which affect the ride quality. But for India, these wheels suit this car very well because we have bad roads. The front wheel brake calipers have the S badging, the rear doesn't. And with their ground clearance of 160 mm, the Audi S5 indeed rides very well and goes over bad surfaces and speed breakers very well, and can be used on an everyday basis. Another part of the black package is this black lining around the greenhouse area, which is otherwise chrome. As a differentiator, you get this S5 badging spanning the fender as well as the door, along with this chrome line. As you can see, another big differentiator is this satin silver finished RVM, which is body colored in the case of the A5 here. It stands out in this contrasting color. Apart from that, if you really look at the side skirts, they are flared and they add to the sporty dynamic character of the car. The lines on the car on the side are similar to the A5, but coming towards the rear, you'll realize that the boot gets this integrated spoiler to add to the sporty character. Apart from that, you obviously get the S5 badging and these darker looking LED lamps which have swipe out turn indicators. But the biggest giveaway here are these quad exhausts, which really would let everyone know that this is a special car and not to try and overtake you. Another giveaway is this diffuser at the bottom, which is done in black, and again adds to the sporty character of the car. Very hunkered down, very low, very sporty. It's a 4-door coupe and quite a unique car in its segment. It really has the road presence and people are going to give you second looks. It's very practical too, because of it being a 4-door coupe. There is a lot more space in the back seat than a lot of 2-door coupes. So that's the story outside. One of the nicest looking sportbacks out there, one of the most powerful too. And it's time now to see what are the differences over the A5. Before we get in, you would appreciate these frameless doors, which obviously add a lot to the sporty appeal of the car, and also the fact that the door handles rise up and not outside, so that's a different way of opening the doors. Apart from that, this key comes equipped with a remote sensor, so you don't really have to do anything. Even if the key is in your pocket, you just have to open the door and get in. The seats obviously are very low, and talking specifically about the seats, these are S Sport seats which are optional. These are not standard. The standard seats are black with Alcantara. These seats, as you can see, are red, but you also have other color options, but you will have to pay extra for these seats. Very sporty. This bolstering is fantastic, and they're quilted. This red color especially makes the interior stand out, makes it look all that sporty. But the other important thing about these seats is the fact that they are not just electrically adjustable for fore and aft and lumbar support. They also come with massagers for both the front seats, and you can control that by a touch of this button. Apart from that, another differentiator over the A5 is this S badging on the door sills. While there are a lot of things which are optional, the Indian version of this car comes with a lot of stuff which is standard and which is, by the way, optional on the international version, so that's a very good thing. And to start off, this sunroof here is standard, which is optional in some countries. Also standard is the virtual cockpit, which you have to pay extra in the other countries, but here it's standard. Also, the MMI Navigation Plus is standard, but a lot of things, as I mentioned, are optional. And this trim that you see here, the carbon fiber trim, is optional, and you'll have to pay extra for this. The standard equipment here is a satin silver aluminum kind of a finish, and the steering here with this S badging, by the way, is standard 3-spoke with this contrasting sporty red stitching. This comes standard and is different from the A5. There is a 740 watt Bang & Olufsen audio system here, which again is optional. It's not standard, so you'll have to pay extra for that. And apart from that, if you really look at the layout of the dashboard, it's very similar to the A5. There is no difference there. The AC vents are very horizontally laid out. So in terms of the ergonomics of it, in terms of most of the features, it's very similar. You have this storage space here. The door panels can also take a liter water bottle very easily. So from a practicality standpoint, it's pretty comfortable, pretty practical. On the door panels, you'll have Alcantara, which is very nice to touch, and the armrests are also wrapped in leather. The pedals, since this is a sporty car, are steel with a rubber grip over it to add to the sporty appeal again. And you obviously have the S badging here, as well as on the seat back, since this is an S line of cars. Most of the stuff here is similar to the A5 though, and you have this trackpad to enter characters. You also have these numbers which can be assigned to various different functions, and you have this square leather wrapped gear selector, which feels rather nice. And overall, the fit and finish levels are typical Audi, nothing to complain about, very rich, and you do feel that you're sitting in a very sporty, very powerful car. Now we'll quickly go to the back seat, but before I do that, let me just show you the wonders of the front seat. And as I mentioned, you can choose from various different massage functions. Also, you can increase or decrease the bolstering using the buttons on the side, and you can also control the lumbar support using the buttons on the side. So all these features are there, and they actually make it stand out and feel different from the standard A5. Time now to go at the back seat, since this is a 4-door coupe, and see whether it's comfortable enough. Now, this being a sports car, the seating is very low, and getting inside for the elderly is going to be a little difficult, but the under-thigh support is pretty good. For tall people, the seats may be too low and the knees may point skyward slightly, but these are not uncomfortable seats at all, and if you're not too tall, you'd actually be able to use them for long journeys. The headroom for people my height, 5'10", 5'11", should not be a problem, but beyond that, 6-footers are going to face a bit of an issue here. The seats here, in terms of their size and the way they are made, are exactly like the Audi A5, and again, I've done a very comprehensive review of that car, so you can also refer to that review. However, you also get a 3-zone climate control here, so you can control the temperature through these buttons here, and you also get a 12-volt power socket. You get this armrest, which is wide enough to accommodate 2 elbows, and along with that you get these 2 cup holders. The seats are also 40-20-40 split, and if the boot space is not enough for you, you can drop down one of the seats to let the long objects enter the cabin and make space for themselves. You have 2 reading lights for the rear passengers, as well as these door handles and a coat hook. You also have a hook here and these magazine holders behind the front seat. Overall, for a car which is this sporty and with a sloping roofline, the space here is not bad at all, and as I mentioned before, you actually can use it for long journeys if you're not a very tall person. Let's see how big or small the boot is, because that also is a very important aspect from a practicality standpoint. Now, before we open the boot, we would do well to know that this is a powered boot, so the effort that you'll have to make will be reduced, and you have 480 liters of boot space here, which is pretty good, so even long holidays are not going to be a problem for a family. The spare here, however, is a space saver. It's a 19-incher Hankook space saver, and it can be driven only till 80 kilometers per hour. So now we are behind the wheel of the S5, and from here it feels like a rocket. It's not too different from the RS5, which by the way is a different beast, but if you look at the power figures, you get 354 HP and 500 Newton meters of torque from this 3-liter V6 turbo, and The RS5 on the other hand is a 2.9 liter twin turbo which gets 455 HP and 600 Newton meters of torque. But this car here is also pretty quick and it does it in 4.7 seconds. We tested it and it actually did it on the road with 2 people aboard in 4.9 seconds. So this car actually feels very quick, and for the kind of price that it commands, I really think it's a very quick car, very good performance for the money. What makes all of those 354 HP of power so very usable is the fact that this is a quattro, so the power goes to all 4 wheels, and this car can actually send all the power to the rear wheels by 85%. It juggles the power very well, which means that the power is laid down to the road in the most efficient ways, effective ways possible, and that really translates into a very strong acceleration. Top speed is 250 kilometers per hour, electronically limited of course. But the big surprise here is the fuel efficiency, which is rated at 12 kilometers to the liter by ARAI. And despite having driven this car very enthusiastically in places, we have received a fuel efficiency of 8.1 km to the liter, which can actually go up by some margin, and it's not bad at all for a car which has this kind of performance. Also worth noting is this fantastic exhaust note, which by the way is activated only when you're in dynamic mode. In efficiency mode, this exhaust sound is not there, it's a little muffled down. The other thing that you need to be very mindful of, in the efficiency mode, the engine decouples itself from the transmission and the drivetrain is freewheeling when you lift your foot from the accelerator pedal, and which really has its positive bearings on the fuel efficiency. So overall it's a very good mix of practicality and fantastic performance. The steering here is also fabulous. Although it's not as involving as some of the BMWs, but it's a job very well done by Audi. It's weighted reasonably well, slightly on the lighter side, but there's no lack of precision here. You can place the car very well on the road, and if you want to drive fast, this steering is going to come very handy. It's not vague at all. The suspension here is also an S Sport setup, 5-link suspension at the rear, similar setting at the front, and this specific car comes with a sport differential. So all of that really means that this car grips the road like a leech, and around the corners, no matter how hard you try to go, it's very difficult to make its rear come out. It's a fantastic handler, and just like the RS5, which was extraordinary, this car also will delight you. The engine here is mated with an 8-speed Tiptronic unit, which by the way is not dual clutch. It's a single clutch unit, but it's very quick, very effective, and very smooth as well. So all in all, a fantastic engine gearbox combo. It's a proper thrill machine at a fantastic price. If you're someone who loves driving, I don't really think you'll be able to find a better bargain than this. Something which can do your everyday chores as well as thrill you to the hilt, as well as be as practical. All in all, if you want something which can go really fast, has a fantastic exhaust note, is very practical, has good space at the back seat and in the boot, I really think it's really difficult to beat the S5 for its practicality at the price. This is one car which is going to thrill you to the hilt without making you rob the bank. From me and Motoroids, it's a big thumbs up to the Audi S5. It's a fantastic entertainment package. At 72.4 lakh rupees, this car is quite unique in its segment. It's a 4-door sportback, sloping coupe-like roofline and 4 doors with a notch at the back, not a sedan. So if you really want to compare it with something, there isn't an exact competition. You want to compare it with something, you can probably compare it with the C43 AMG, which again is a 4-door sedan, not exactly a sportback. And the power there is pretty similar. That one is 357 HP, this is 354 HP. The power is pretty much the same. However, on the styling front, this one definitely aces the C43. Also, the way this drives with the quattro and everything is not comparable to the C43. This one definitely drives better. So if you're looking for a car which can be your everyday ride as well as give you a rush of adrenaline with a petrol motor under its hood, I really think that this car is quite unique, and at 72.4 lakh rupees ex-showroom is quite a deal for the car that it offers. It's a properly sporty machine with a fantastic exhaust note, and it shoots towards the horizon like no other car in its segment. So if you're looking for a stylish, sporty car which can be used every day and is powered by petrol, I think this is a car which is pretty unique and is priced fantastically well as well. I hope that I was able to sum this car up for you in detail, and if you really liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to Motoroids, press that notification icon so that you can get all our videos before everyone else. And until next time then, this is Amit Chhangani signing off. Rev hard, rev free and drive safe.